Fifth and last article I will be speaking about now is daily fantasy sports players, gambling addiction, and mental health problems. I'll be focusing more on the gambling addiction part of this article. I won't be speaking on the mental health part. But pretty much, this article is trying to focus on seeing if daily fantasy sports players can correlate to having a gambling addiction. So, a lot of people play fantasy sports. It can range from 25 cents to $5,000, which is a lot of money in participating. FanDuel and DraftKings collected $3 billion combined in 2016 from fantasy sports. And this article, the author tried to do a survey of 1,556 college students that are daily fantasy players, and they noticed that they are 5 times more likely to gamble than non-participants. Also, men are more likely to gamble, which can correlate to fantasy sports. And a very small proportion of gamblers uh, were shown to be have a risk of anything else other than gambling addiction, so it doesn't seem to be that big of a problem. When it came to the method of this article, they wanted to see the correlation, as I said before, between playing fantasy sports and having a gambling addiction. So what they did is they interviewed 3,634 New Jersey residents to see who plays fantasy sports. Only 2,146 of them played fantasy sports. They noticed that 97% of daily fantasy sports players also gambled, and only 7 said they play and didn't gamble. Now, when it came to the results, they put in a lot of factors to try to see the correlation: gender, age, race, education level, relationship status, household income, employment, substance use and problems, mental health problems, problems, behaviors, participations in different gambling activities, frequency of gambling participation, number of gambling activities participated by preferred gambling venues, and the PGSI score. So after they put all these factors together, they noticed that the majority of daily fantasy sports players were high frequency in gambling. They also noticed that gambling is 7.4% more likely to happen if you're a daily fantasy sports player. And they noticed that the most popular uh, fantasy sports players and who also gamble turn out to be Hispanic or Caucasian. The only thing with this article is that there's a limited sample size, but it does give a lot of information that gives a good idea if fantasy sports correlates with gambling addiction.